Okay. Class 1 was based on a mimer by Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, and the basic direction of Class 1 is the only thing I do is try. I am the trier. God does 100% of the outcome, and I am the chooser. I am nothing else, and that is true 100% all of the time. Okay? And in that light, the only way to get constant God connection is to constantly be the chooser to get God connection. Okay? My avoda in being a constant God connector is just to keep trying. And as long as you try to do the avoda and try to constantly connect in the right way, you are a success whether or not you're connected or not. The main idea also that if I perceive myself as the, as the outcome producer, so there's really, I don't make room for God in my life, but if I know I do nothing and Hashem does everything, I create a space to bring Hashem in, and that is very, 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 very powerful idea. Now the next idea, the corollary of this also is that we a lot of times get lost in the details of the outcome. Do I have capabilities? Can I really get it done? Is it possible? And stuff like that. And when somebody fully understands these ideas totally the right way, this is like a corollary. If you're fully clear that God does all the producing and I do none of the producing, so just try as hard as you can, whether you think you have the capabilities or not, because God's the one who produces the outcome, and then we don't get lost in capabilities, And they actually had a very nice movie this week on Project Inspire, their once a year amazing Tisha B'Av movie, and they had it on Meir Schuster, Rabbi Meir Schuster, and who was, one of the, I would say, Tzadiki Ador, one of the very, very special man, and he had no talents at all to, bring thousands of people to yeshiva. He just had ratzon, and because he did that, literally thousands of people became frum, and thousands, many thousands because of him. And when you know that God produces all and I produce nothing, you just go for it, right? And in this area of our class right now, it doesn't matter whether you have all these obstacles. The goal is just to try in a healthy way, of course, in the right way. In the right way. I'm not going to let my limiting beliefs about my abilities hold me back. That's our first class. The second class was about the avodah zorah of success, and basically the avodah zorah of success is that that once I know that I do nothing, so then the only thing I'm chayav to do is just to try all the time. That becomes the definition of what I am, and the only thing, my goal is now unceasing trying. And we get lost in all these things, I'm only going to try when it's easy. I'm only going to try whether I'm going to have success. I'm only going to try, when it's comfortable for me, that type of thing. And no, once you know that God does everything and I do nothing, then our essential definition of what I am is to try whether or not I succeed at all. Maybe you were born to fail externally, right? If you know that your goal is to be the trier, then you can be a success no matter what. So the only thing I ask myself is, did I try today? And the essence of me being a trier now connects me to God. And you can have powerful and amazing joy by just really understanding this, even though initially there might be a disconnection process, which can or possibly might be painful at times, but there's that. Anyway, so when you hear ideas of this class, once again, how to listen, when some idea strikes you very strongly, you should write it down and you should keep track of those ideas that hit you. And what you need to do is review those principles again and again and again. We might be talking about that tonight. Certainly in the next class, we have to bring up that whole issue. But you need to review and and take those ideas that are hitting you over and over and over again. Anyway, that's sort of enough for the review for now. We're going to move on in a second. But the main point of our PMR of our class, our practical measurable result of our class, how can I take these ideas and use them to constantly connect to God, and how to switch our whole essential life definition, our whole essential, every single second of our life, we want to change. Because once we know this, we want to know that my goal is to constantly to try to have God connection, and trying to have God connection is having God connection. Okay, if you get God connection, that's great. God, you merited it. But even if you just try to have God connection, you are having constant God connection. Okay, so that's how we're going to be learning some really, really amazing stuff in a second, and we're going to be challenging what we're going to be learning in a very amazing way. Okay, so I'm going to take one quote. Now listen, we're going to be learning the Slonim Rebbe now. We're going to be learning the Chinuch. We're going to be learning the Rambam. We're going to be learning the Ramchal. And every one of them is going to say this uncompromising, one-dimensional message. And the first thing we're going to get from hearing what they're going to say is like, how does anybody in the world do this? Like, what does this mean? What does it practically mean? I have kids. I have I work. I have kids. I have parnasa. I got my house to keep clean. I have guests all the time. I'm doing what's Ratzon Hashem all the day. What does this mean? And we're going to try to come up with a user-friendly answer about this really uncompromising message that we're going to hear from the greatest. And we're going to try to bring it into our lives. And if you get it, you should internally, hopefully, feel a certain switch in the direction you're going in. Okay, so but we have to go through this process, and we have to ask these questions in the way we're going to ask it. Okay, so the Slonim Rebbe in Nitivei Hadas. By the way, the Slonim Rebbe is the greatest of the greatest. He has a chapter which many of you have learned, and we're going to see that he's going to speak in the most uncompromising way that a human being can talk, okay? About the topic of our class, okay? So there's a verse that we say on we say it especially on Simchas Torah, and we also say it when we open the Torah thing, the Torah Aron. We say Ata Haresa Ladas Yashem Hu Elokim Ein Od Milvado. Okay, and in English, it means you have attained enlightened awareness that Hashem is God. There is nothing besides Him. Ein Od Milvado, you're probably familiar with, right? So the center of the pasuk has these words He'arasa Das, okay, and He'arasa Das means enlightened awareness, okay. And enlightened awareness is going to mean awareness of Hashem, right? Enlightened awareness. Rasa Das means awareness of Hashem. And Das means experiential understanding, which means both the emotion and the intellect understand it, okay? So these are the words we're going to be using today. Das and Rasa Das, which means enlightened Das, which means the knowledge of Hashem, the experiential, consistent God connection that we've been trying to reach. So the Rebbe is just going to come out swinging, as they say. The foundation of service and the pillar of the Hasidic way is the quality of enlightened awareness. And then it brings a verse. Scripture, we said this to you guys in emails, okay? So check your emails. Scripture refers to this in the verse. You have attained enlightened awareness that Hashem is a God. There's nothing beside Him, right? So enlightened awareness, Harasa Das, is everything, okay? There's nothing besides having Harasa Das. Concerning this, this idea of Ein Od Milvado and Harasa Das, our sages said, if you have acquired awareness, Das, what do you lack? And if you lack awareness, what have you gained? Okay, one more time. If you have das, what do you lack? You have everything, right? And if you don't have das, what do you have? Nothing. Okay, which almost means like there's no halfway. Okay, which is very unusual to speak so harshly. Now listen to this line, okay? For the value of one's service is measured only according to the enlightenment of the mind. That is one's awareness of the blessed Creator. Let me just say that one again. For the value of service is measured only according to the enlightenment of the mind. That is one's awareness of the blessed Creator. All or nothing. If you have Ha'arasa Das, you have everything. If you have enlightened awareness, you have everything. If you don't have it, you have nothing. So let's say there's this lady, she runs a chesed organization, and she works 24 hours a day doing chesed. She's mavaker cholim, she visits the sick, she brings food everywhere, she gives to the poor, 24 hours a day. And for some reason, this lady is not so spiritually connected, if you want to use that language, okay? So the Slonim Rebbe says it's nothing. Now I'm provoking you right now. He's saying if you have Ha'arasa Das, you have everything. If you don't have, you have nothing. This lady who's running this chesed organization, she's moser nefesh for her neighborhood. There's not one person in her neighborhood who has not experienced her kindness one way or another. And the holy Slonim Rebbe says she has nothing, because she doesn't think about God when she does her chesed. So I don't want you guys to answer yet, but think about it. This is like pretty harif stuff here. Strong stuff. For the value of one's service is measured only, get that word, only, according to the enlightenment of the mind. That is one's awareness of the blessed Creator. Okay, pretty interesting. Okay, pretty strong. So the core belief of that is obvious. The core belief is that Judaism is measured only according to your awareness of God. And the only in my webinar here, only means only. Now, our sages remarked in the Medrash that the word das refers to awareness of the Creator. Okay, even though das can be used in other contexts, it's mainly used regarding awareness of the Creator. And then they bring a Medrash regarding this idea. There's a verse that says there is gold and many pearls. Oh, that's the verse. There's gold and many. Now this is the Medrash. There's gold and many pearls. The words of awareness, das, are the most precious vessels. There was gold. Everybody brought their offerings of gold to the tabernacle, as it's stated in the portion of Truma. Many pearls. This is the offering of precious stones that the princess brought. The words of awareness are the most precious vessel. A person may have gold, silver, and precious stones, but without awareness, what does he have? Okay? What does he have? The various precious materials that were brought for the tabernacle allude to the various ways of serving Hashem. But the greatest offering of all is what nurtures one awareness of the blessed Creator's presence. This was revealed to Moses, our teacher. So the greatest offering you can offer, now this is like all or nothing Judaism here. The greatest offering that one can offer Hashem is to work on your awareness of Him. So the Slonim are saying, out of all of the Torah mitzvahs, out of all of Judaism, the most important thing above everything is to work on your awareness of Him. Okay? That's it. Nothing's more important. So now he's going to bring a mushal from the Chovos HaLevavos regarding a certain guy. Listen how he's going to say his words. One who serves Hashem with small-mindedness is compared in the book Chovos HaLevavos to a man who has spent his entire life in a dungeon. Right? If you do not have enlightened awareness, you live in a dungeon. He has never left the dungeon, and the authorities have always provided him with food. So the core belief there is serving Hashem without awareness of Him is like living in a dungeon and is an insult to God. When he learned of the existence of the king, the guy who's in the dungeon, he began to sing the king's praises, exclaiming that the whole dungeon belongs to the king. The king's servants scoffed at that man, telling him that his praise is in fact an insult to the king who rules over many lands. So too, the service of the small-minded, God forbid, is an insult to the king. Okay? Now, whatever, I don't know, we're not actively trying to insult God because we don't have God awareness, but our small-mindedness puts us in a dungeon. Okay? Once again, don't get disempowered by this stuff. There's a reason why I'm doing it. So you see, there's a very important distinction that needs to be made, and please forgive me for making it. And the reason why I'm bringing you, we're going to be seeing all the Makoros tonight, is Aryeh Niven is not saying this. Okay, all these other people are saying it, but there's a crucial distinction that has to be made, right? That a Judaism without Amunah at the forefront, and Amunah meaning a constant experiential, directional movement towards Amunah, Das, Rasa Das, is a second-rate Judaism. So all of the other Judaisms that are floating around today, and some of them are great stuff, right, pale in relationship with Judaism where God is at the center, right? If you serve Hashem in any other way, even if you're doing the greatest things in the whole world for Klal Yisrael, and I don't usually talk this way, but that's not real Judaism. What I mean is not real Judaism. Of course it's real Judaism, but it's not true Judaism, okay? The Judaism we need is a God-centered Judaism where we're constantly striving to put God in the center. Says the Holy Slodomer. This is in your handout. Therefore, for all the adversities that a servant from Hashem experiences, more than every seduction, every desire, every lack of motivation, the greatest adversity is in the area of awareness. Okay? The Yetzer Hara is going right, wants awareness. He wants to take away your awareness. One is constantly assailed by forces that causes confusion and the reduction of awareness until one's service remains in a constricted and small-minded state. The goal of the Yetzer Hara is to keep us constricted and small-minded. So the core belief is the greatest area of adversity by the Yetzer is in the area of Das, God awareness. The Yetzer Hara is coming to try to kill us, particularly in this area. The Rebbe is going to say here that you could even be, this was a chiddush for me, I never knew this before, even at Har Sinai, you could not see Hashem. Okay? And listen how he explains it. The holy teachers explain the meaning of the verse concerning the giving of the Torah. All the people saw the sounds of the lightning. The people saw, recoiled, and stood far away. That's the verse. The people refers to the simple folk who experienced nothing more than the sounds and the lightning while the heavens were all opened and they were shown there's nothing beside Hashem. Even at Har Sinai itself, you can go to sleep. You can go to sleep even at Har Sinai. Nevertheless, they did not apply themselves to contemplate the vision beyond its externals. Therefore, they stood far away. Once again, it's a drasha on the verse. Similarly, it's written in the Zohar, the servants of the king who look not upon the king's body, but on the king's souls. These are the wise servants. Now listen to this one. This is in contrast to the fools who at the king's parade pay attention only to the king's splendid dress and the glorious carriage without paying any attention to the king himself, which means that you could even be asleep at Har Sinai, which is pretty wild, huh? So therefore, this is the message for us in the constant God connection Kabbalah. This challenge exists in every generation to overcome the adversity that diminishes mindfulness and clarity, that would have us remain in a state of small-mindedness, even at the highest spiritual moments. So you see, the Yetzer Hara, his goal, he's living for, putting us to sleep. And it can even be done even at Har Sinai at the highest moments. The great Reb Yisrael of Ruzhin used to pray, Master of the universe, I give up my share both of this world and the next, if you only will enlighten the eyes of the people, so that they not walk upon the earth as animals without awareness, right? He says, I'll give up everything. Just come on, let's wake up, right? Let's wake up. In the same way one is assailed by forces that prevent one from attaining awareness, so too, and more so, is one surrounded by forces that pull a person this way and that way, preventing one from having even a single moment of clarity. And clarity is the basis for every facet of one's spiritual life. All day long, we're going to be assailed by things that just pull us this way and that way. So we don't have a moment of Yishuv V'das, and if you don't have Yishuv V'das, there's no way to be spiritual, right? So the Yetzer Hara, his whole goal is to keep us small-minded. Now listen to this. This is a painful thing the Rebbe is going to say here. And he says here, small-mindedness is the Rebbe way of saying you don't have awareness of Hashem. He says this occurs even with those who lead a completely devotional life, seeking nothing but closeness from Hashem. They're beset by confusion and haziness to the extent that they no longer understand what Hashem wants from them. The wings of their spirit are clipped and they are unable to progress in their service. So even people who completely want to connect to Hashem, right? And they only want nothing but Hashem. The Yetzer Hara is they're hit by this Yetzer Hara attack. So you can still live the most devotional life in Judaism there is and still not understand the point and know what God wants from you. Okay. There's no greater threat. There's no greater threat than confusion. But with awareness and clarity, one's path is lit. If you have acquired a clear state of mind, what do you lack? Anyway, the point is so far, the Rebbe is stating uncompromisingly. The Rebbe is stating uncompromisingly. The Rebbe is saying without anything that we have to know that the whole goal of our life is He'eras Hadas, experiential God awareness. That is Keneged Kulam. If you have that, you have everything. And if you don't have that, you have nothing. Now, this is hairy stuff over here, right? This is hairy stuff. What do you mean? A woman might say, I'm with my kids all day long. I'm most of Nefesh Hashem 24 hours a day, right? I don't have a second to think about God because every second I have another little kid pulling at my skirt. Or another woman would say, not only do I have 5 kids under the age of 4 years old, but I have a full-time job, right? I have a full-time job. And I can't think of Hashem. You're trying to tell me I have nothing? That's what you're saying? And yes, the Yetzer Hara is attacking me, but I don't know any better. And you're trying to say my Judaism is a nothing? Well, that seems to be what he's saying. That's what we have to understand what's going on over here, right? So one of the directions, one of the things we have to do here is make clear distinctions, okay? And this is just not the answer, but it's one of the answers, one of the directions to the answer of the question is like, if you never state it clearly, you'll never know what's really going on. You'll never have criteria for know how to evaluate your life, okay? The Slonim Rebbe is saying it's all or nothing. It's black and white. There's no gray. And that's really our question. What do you mean no gray? No, it's no gray, right? If you do not have experiential God awareness, okay, your life is in a dungeon, right? If you don't have He'eras Hadas, you got nothing, right? And why do you have to say it that way? Because we get confused, right? We have to say it that way, because if we don't say it that way, we're going to get, we have to know the battle. This is the Yetzer Hara's mission in life. to take us away from experiential God awareness. We'll do a little bit more of the Sloaner, then we'll do the Rambam and the Chinuch, and maybe we'll have time for the Ramchal. Whoops. Sorry. I clicked the wrong button here. Okay, 1 second. One more second here. Okay, there's more definition, but the kitchen, the level of das we're looking for is emotional, intellectual and emotional understanding of God. It's on an experiential level. Okay? 1 second. Okay, so now we're going to end chapter 1 of the Rebbe, and then we're going to go to the Chinuch for a second. The awareness that we are speaking about is not one's natural state of awareness, but awareness one attains through effort. Our teacher, author of Divrei Shmuel, comments on the verse, we will not know how to serve Hashem until we arrive there. This verse means that one cannot serve Hashem through awareness alone, rather until we arrive there. When we arrive at awareness through effort, only then will enlightenment carry one's service to the highest level. Okay? Right? You have to sweat to get this. This effort includes practical actions and deeds in the service of Hashem. In order to attain an enlightened mind and heart, one needs to put forth persistent effort. Similarly, Israel proceeded, we will do, so we will listen. Only then will one's wisdom be sustained and firm, so that all the wisdom of the world cannot move it. For belief, you need tons and tons of effort to get this awareness, and it does not come naturally. Okay, basically this last part here means basically similarly what we've learned in the last couple lessons over here. We have to work very hard and uncompromisingly in order to get this done. Now, so far we still have not answered our main question. Okay, and our main question is, the Rebbe is talking in completely uncompromising language, no halfway, right? If you have this, it's everything. If you don't have this, you have nothing. We know why he's doing it, but it still doesn't sound so true, okay? But I want to just give you one or two more makoros, just to show you that it's not just the Sloaner, okay? I want to do the Chinuch. I'm going to put the Chinuch up on the screen here, okay? Here we go. This is the Chinuch in the mitzvah of love of God. 1 second. No, I'm in the wrong mitzvah here, I think. 1 second. Yep, wrong mitzvah. What happened here? Here it is. There's a lot on this. There's a lot in this. I think we have to learn this Be'iyud one day. But under this thing called the Dinei HaMitzvahs of the Rambam, of the Chinuch in Mitzvah 4:18, the Chinuch says like this, okay? The laws of the precept are, the Dinei HaMitzvah, it's called the Dinei HaMitzvah, that it's right for man to set his whole mind and his whole aim towards the love for the eternal Lord, right? Now, that in the Hebrew, a person should put kol machshavatov, kol magamaso acharei avas Hashem. That's with all of your mind and all of your aspirations after avas Hashem. He should constantly appreciate in his heart that all there is in the world of wealth, sons, and honor, all is as nothing, all is naught and nothing, an utter void compared to the love for him, blessed be him. So you have to know that all the pleasures of the world are nothing compared to the love of God. But now listen what he says now. Once again, more uncompromising language and direction here. Okay? Then let him toil all the day, constantly in search of wisdom, in order that he might attain a conception from him. Which means all day long you have to be hunting for Hashem, all day long. But what if I'm working with my kids? What if I have a job? Right? What about if I'm an accountant? What about if I'm a teacher? What about if I help children? All day long, you have to search for Hashem. Over and above everything. Let him do all he can to accustom the thoughts of his heart the entire day to his faith and his oneness, until there not be one moment, day or night, when he's awake, that he does not recall his love for his divine master within his heart. Okay? So, what you got to do, you have to make all the thoughts of your heart all day long. You have to do it. You have to get all your thoughts, all your thinking, everything you got into Avos Hashem. The meaning is by way of an analogy that he should bear in mind his love for the eternal Lord. There's a mashal. As one who yearns for something with an utter longing remembers it, in his yearning all day to succeed in bringing him to his house. We're going to see that he's speaking about being lovesick for somebody that the Rambam's talking about. Okay? But once again, this uncompromising language. You got to toil all day, constantly in search of Hashem, in order that he might attain a conception for him. Above and below, all he can to accustom the thoughts of his heart the entire day to his faith and his oneness, until there will not be one moment, day or night, that he does not recall his love for the divine master. And he brings the mashal of the Rambam lovesick, he brings it in a tznius way. Now, there's a thing called the how or the details of the chinuch. Now, listen how the chinuch talks about Avos Hashem and being connected to Hashem. This applies in every place, at every time, for both man and woman. If a person transgresses this and fixes his thoughts on the material interests and vapid vanities of the world, not for the sake of heaven, but only to pleasure himself in them. Boy, this is a big run-on sentence here. Okay, let's try again. If you put your thoughts on anything material, not for the sake of Hashem, only to have pleasure in them, he disobeys this positive precept and his punishment will be great. This is one of the constant precepts for man forever imposed on him to deserve. So once again, this uncompromising, all or nothing language without any holding back. And now, once again, we still haven't answered our question, right? This uncompromising direction here. Now, this is the Rambam. I couldn't find the handout for it, but this is the last halacha, whatever you want to call it, in Sefer Mada. This is chapter 10 of Hilchos Tshuva, halacha 6. Now listen to this, okay? It is known and certain that the love of God does not become closely knit in a man's heart until he is continuously and thoroughly possessed by it and gives up everything else in the world for it. So love of God, we can't have love of God until you're just obsessed by it. Okay? And you have to give up everything in the world for it, as God commanded us, with all your heart and all your soul. Okay? The only way to get love in God is to be a God fanatic, in the positive sense, of course, uncompromisingly, again. Okay? One only loves God with the knowledge which one knows God. According to knowledge will be the love. The former be little and much, so will the latter be little and much. A person must therefore devote himself to the understanding and comprehension of those sciences and studies which inform him concerning his master, as it lies in the human facilities to understand and comprehend, as we explained in the laws of Yesodei Tova. So you can't have Avos Hashem until you're continually and thoroughly obsessed by it. Okay? So, one second, I want to get the Hebrew here. Here we go. Davar yadua ubarur. It's known and made clear. She'ein avas hakodesh baruch hu niksheres belibo shel adam. That the love of Hashem is not nikshar, attached to the heart of a man. Ad sheyiske ba tamid. You have to be involved continually. Kereui. V'yazov kol sheba'olam chutz be'men. You got to leave everything else in the world other than Hashem, just like it says b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha. So I have some Ramchal